What if I told you that XRP, the digital asset often at the center of heated crypto debates, has a theoretical path to a staggering price of $10,000? Now, before you dismiss this as pure fantasy, let's unpack the logic behind this black swan event. This isn't about hype or overnight riches. It's about understanding the fundamental mechanics of a potential future financial system. To start, let's get one thing straight. For XRP to hit $10,000, we aren't talking about its current use case for retail payments or speculative trading. That market cap would be astronomical and simply unrealistic in today's context. The journey to a 5-figure XRP requires a complete paradigm shift in global finance. The key lies in a specific, high-value, and incredibly massive market: cross-border payments for banks and financial institutions. Think about the global financial system. Every day, trillions of dollars move across borders. This system, largely running on an old network called SWIFT, is slow, expensive, and inefficient. It requires banks to hold massive amounts of money in foreign accounts, known as nostro vostro accounts, just to facilitate these transactions. This tied-up capital is essentially dead money. It's not being used, it's not generating returns, it's just sitting there waiting. We're talking about trillions upon trillions of dollars locked up globally. This is where Ripple and XRP come in. Ripple proposes a solution: on-demand liquidity, which uses XRP as a bridge currency. Instead of holding vast sums of yen, euros, or pesos, a bank in the US could instantly convert dollars to XRP, send the XRP across the ledger in seconds, and then convert it into the destination currency on the other side. This process would eliminate the need for those pre-funded nostro vostro accounts. So how do we get to $10,000 from there? It's a matter of liquidity and scale. For XRP to function as this global bridge asset for the world's largest banks, its price needs to be high enough to handle enormous transaction volumes without causing massive price fluctuations, a phenomenon known as slippage. If a bank wants to send $1 billion and the price of XRP is only $1, they'd need to buy 1 billion XRP. Such a large purchase would skyrocket the price and make the transaction unworkable. However, if a single XRP were worth $10,000, that same billion-dollar transaction would only require $100,000 XRP. The impact on the market would be minimal, allowing for smooth, stable, large-scale transfers. A high XRP price isn't about making retail holders rich. It's a functional necessity for the asset to serve its intended purpose at a global, institutional level. The math starts to make sense when you consider the sheer size of the market we're discussing. The Bank for International Settlements, or BIS, has reported that daily foreign exchange market turnover is over $7.5 trillion. That's trillion with a T. If XRP were to capture even a small fraction of the value currently locked in nostro vostro accounts, which is estimated to be anywhere from $5 to $27 trillion, the required valuation per XRP would have to be substantial. Let's run a simple thought experiment. If we take a conservative estimate of $10 trillion in locked liquidity that could be freed up by using XRP, and we divide that by the circulating supply of XRP, which is roughly 55 billion, you start getting into some very interesting numbers. But the $10,000 figure is often linked to a scenario where XRP doesn't just replace nostro tar vostro, but also becomes the backbone for settling other tokenized assets. Imagine a future where everything of value is tokenized on a ledger: stocks, bonds, real estate, commodities. We're talking about hundreds of trillions of dollars in assets. If XRP were the primary settlement asset for this new tokenized economy, facilitating the exchange of all this value, its price would need to reflect that immense utility. To move trillions, you need a bridge asset worth trillions. With a finite supply of 100 billion XRP, the price per unit must be high to accommodate that total value. So, the path to $10,000 XRP is not a gradual climb driven by retail FOMO. It would be a black swan event, a sudden and massive repricing of the asset, likely triggered by regulatory clarity and widespread institutional adoption. This wouldn't happen overnight. It would be the result of a global consensus among central banks and major financial players to adopt a new, more efficient system. This scenario assumes a few major things. First, Ripple would need to unequivocally win or settle its case with the SEC, providing the regulatory green light for U.S. institutions to use XRP without fear. Second, the global banking system would have to agree to overhaul its decades-old infrastructure and adopt Ripple's technology. This is a monumental task, filled with political and competitive hurdles. And third, other potential solutions would have to fail to gain the same level of traction. This is why it's called a black swan theory. It's a high-impact, low-probability event. It's not a guarantee, but it's a logically consistent framework based on the size of the problem XRP aims to solve. The price is not just a speculative number, it's a derivative of its utility. The greater the utility and the larger the value it secures and transfers, the higher the price must be to function correctly. It's a fascinating concept that forces you to think beyond the weekly charts and consider the fundamental restructuring of our financial world. It's not about when moon, but how does the plumbing of global finance evolve? And in that evolution, XRP has a potential role that could justify valuations that seem unthinkable today. The $10,000 figure is the ultimate bull case, representing the full realization of XRP's potential as a global reserve bridge currency. Of course, this is all speculative. The future is uncertain, and the crypto space is notoriously unpredictable. This is not financial advice, but rather an exploration of a powerful idea. It's crucial to do your own research and understand the risks involved. But the next time you hear someone mention an incredibly high price for XRP, you'll understand that it's not just wishful thinking. There's a complex, yet compelling logic tied to the largest financial markets in the world. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive. What are your thoughts on this? Is it a financial revolution in the making, or just a pipe dream? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more content that challenges conventional thinking, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Until next time, stay curious and invest wisely.